Hello, and welcome to Off the Rack. I am so happy you're here with me today. If you're watching this, you're probably preparing for your own breast reduction, or maybe you're already in those first days of healing. Wherever you are, I'm so glad you're here with me because week one is big. If we haven't met yet, I'm Shelley Beyer, and this is my channel, Off the Rack, where I share my own breast reduction journey and support other women through theirs. Week one is a tender week, both physically and emotionally. And no matter how much you research ahead of time, there's always that wondering, what will this really be like for me? Will I be okay? I remember feeling that way. So today, I want to share my full story of what week one of my recovery actually looked like. Just my honest experience, what surprised me, what helped me, and what I learned along the way. So the first 3 days, I really needed help, way more than I had expected, to be honest with you. I was so grateful that my husband had taken time off work to be with me because I deeply needed his support in those early days. Physically, I was surprised by how good I felt in some ways and how hard other things were. One of the biggest surprises was that I had no breast pain at all. No swelling, no tightness, no discomfort in my breasts themselves. That just amazed me. I had built up a story in my mind that this was going to be really hard, and it just wasn't. But what I didn't expect, and what no one really told me about, was the rib pain. There was this sharp, aching rib pain from an internal suture that supports the breast shape, and that totally caught me off guard. I later found out that my friend, who had surgery with the same surgeon, also experienced it. So I know now it's not uncommon, but going in, I just wasn't prepared for that. As I healed and started to sleep a little more flat, it made it worse. But when I stayed propped up in the bed, it was so much more manageable. That's why I'm so glad I had spent the money on the good sleep setup ahead of time. I knew I wouldn't sleep well in a recliner, so I set myself up in my own bed with a pregnancy pillow and a wedge system. I used the blocks to prop my back up and the pregnancy pillow to help cradle the arms, so I kind of just put it around me. That made all the difference. When I stayed propped up, I was comfortable and I actually slept pretty well, especially those first few nights when I was still on pain meds. Waking up for pain meds and antibiotics in the middle of the night was not fun, but having that supportive sleep system really helped me get the rest my body needed. One thing that really surprised me was how quickly I got off pain meds. By day three, I wasn't really taking anything prescription, just occasional ibuprofen if needed. And that was for the rib pain, especially if I was going to shower. I needed it at that time. But by day four, even that was tapering off. But keeping track of all the meds was essential. I was taking several supplements along with antibiotics and prescription meds, and I didn't want to make a mistake. My husband used a spreadsheet to track everything, and that was so helpful. For the first few days, he managed all of it. I just rested, and honestly, I needed that help. Nutrition was such a huge part of my healing. I had spent about 10 months preparing my body, eating a carnivore diet, and I truly believe that's why my healing went so well. In those first days, I ate really simple. I focused on healing foods. Lots of eggs. They're such a superfood. They were soft, easy, and full of nutrients. I added a little sour cream to up my fat content and make them so delicious. Bone broth was another thing that I had a lot of, and I used that for the collagen. I wanted to support my body as much as possible. And then I also added a lot of high fat fish like salmon and steelhead, which I still love. And as I felt ready, I added some chicken back in and then steak. And by the end of week one, I was back to my normal nutrient dense way of eating. No processed foods, no sugar, just animal-based foods to nourish my body and support healing. And I could see the difference. Very little bruising, no swelling, no breast pain. And I believe so much of that came from nutrition. Before surgery, I was so nervous about having drains. I had built it up in my head as this big, scary thing, and it just wasn't. They were actually one of the best parts of my week one because they kept everything so clean. I had zero oozing, no blood, no drama. My breasts stayed very clean thanks to the surgical tape and the drains doing their job. The drains really reduced the swelling and the tightness, and I had no hematomas, no complications. Even getting the drains out was nothing like I had feared. I was so nervous about that too. But when I went in, two nurses came in, one on each side, and they had me take a deep breath and blow out. And they pulled the drains at the same time. I barely even felt it. No pain. It was over before I knew it. So that experience really taught me how often we create these scary stories in our heads about things that turn out to be no big deal. Taking my first shower, that was another moment I had built up in my mind. I was scared. I didn't know what it would feel like. Would it hurt when the water hit my breasts? Would I feel faint or weak? I had heard that some women get lightheaded in the shower too soon after surgery, so I waited until day 5 when I felt ready. And I'm so glad that I did because when I finally took that first shower, it felt so good. I took it very slow. I wanted it to be my moment. I didn't want anyone else in the room or any pressure to rush. And as I stood there, I really had my first moment of connecting with my new body. Even though I had a quick post-op check on day 1, I hadn't really looked at my breasts yet. I was scared to. I had created the story that they were going to look bad, that it was going to be hard to see. When I finally really looked around day 5, I was so surprised. They were beautiful. They were small, clean, and healing so well. And it was surreal standing there in the bathroom, seeing this new version of my body. There was still numbness. They didn't quite feel like mine yet, but I felt this deep gratitude and the sense of peace that I had done this, that I had given myself this gift. Emotionally, one of the biggest parts of week 1 was learning to ask for and receive help. That's never been easy for me. I've always been more comfortable giving than receiving. But week 1 humbled me in a good way. I needed help with everything: my meds, my drains, the little things around the house. And one of the hardest asks was asking friends to take care of my horse for 6 weeks. That was big for me, but they were so gracious and so supportive. And I realized I am worthy of receiving help, that asking doesn't make me a burden. It's part of healing, not just physically, but emotionally too. One quick thing I'll add, because a lot of women worry about this, is the IV. I was nervous about that too. And again, it just wasn't a big deal. It was a little pinch, and that was it. Nothing to stress over. Looking back now, what stands out to me most from week 1 is gratitude. Gratitude that I had the surgery, gratitude for how well my body responded, gratitude for how my breasts were healing, for how little pain I had, for how prepared I was, and gratitude for my husband, for my friends, for everyone who supported me through those first tender days. If you and I were sitting across from each other right now and you were getting ready for your own week 1, here's what I tell you. First, nutrition is everything. You can influence your healing. You can reduce inflammation. You can support your body by what you choose to eat, both before and after surgery. And that makes such a difference. Second, try not to create scary stories in your head. I did that with the drains, the IV, my first shower, and none of those things were as bad as I thought. We can cause ourselves so much extra stress with those stories, and stress only makes healing harder. So trust your body and trust the process. And finally, enjoy the experience. You've waited for this. You are worthy of this gift to yourself. Yes, there is healing involved. Yes, there will be emotions, but this journey will teach you so much if you let it. For me, it taught me that I am worthy of love, of care, of receiving, that I can ask for help and it's okay, and that I am allowed to feel good in my body. And if you'd like some extra support, especially with nutrition, I've put together a free guide for you called Fueling Your Body for Surgery. It's a keto and carnivore based guide to help reduce inflammation and prepare your body for healing before and after surgery. And when you download it, you'll also get a 15-day video series from me. Gentle, supportive videos delivered to your inbox day by day to help you through your healing. You can find the link below, and I hope it helps you feel nourished and supported on your journey. Week 1 is tender. It's big, but your body knows how to heal. And you are allowed to rest, to receive, and to trust the process. In my next video, I'll be sharing more about what I ate after breast reduction surgery and how I supported my healing with nutrition in those early weeks. So if you'd like to keep following along, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Until then, be gentle with your heart and kind to your body. And remember, healing doesn't have to look perfect to be real.